Hi people, welcome back to my channel, and today I want to share with you again my TBR for the next month, which is February. So I want to start off with the books that I did not read in January from my TBR that I still want to read in February. So I'm going to go over those two really quickly because, I already talked about them in my January TBR video. So if you want to know more about them, you can watch that one. But anyway, I still have to read A Wolf or a Spell by Kara Sutton, which is a Baba Yaga retelling, which I'm really excited for, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. So that is on my TBR for February as well. And the second book that I haven't gotten around to in January, but still want to read really badly, is, of course, God Killer by Hannah Kaner, which just the cover, it's so beautiful. And this is somehow about someone that kills gods. I believe that this is set in a world where gods are, commonplace and not as scary as they would be. If I were to encounter a god, I would probably be very scared. So I think I don't know anything about this book, clearly, but I really want to read it because I hear a lot of people say nice things about it and it is highly rated. So I really want to read it, but haven't gotten around to it in January. February is going to be the month that I'm going to read it for sure. So one of my goals this year is to read one classic every month. So in February, I chose The Picture of Dorian Gray because it's not that thick of a book. It is only 231 pages. And I hear a lot of people saying that this is their favorite book of all time. So I would love to read it. This is about a man that is very beautiful, but also corrupt. So it is that duology where normally, if you watch a Disney movie, the hero is usually very pretty, very handsome, very beautiful, and the villain is usually very ugly. And you can tell just by looking at the characters which of the characters are evil and which are good. And in this story, Dorian Gray is beautiful and bad. And Dorian asks someone to paint a picture of him, a magic picture where he himself doesn't age anymore, but his picture does for him. And somehow it becomes a hideous secret, and Dorian Gray gets into a downward spiral of cruelty. And I'm really curious about this. It seems like something where you can learn a lot from a book, right? So I hope I will learn a lot from this book as well. And now to get into the more fun books, I guess. Well, classics are fun as well, but in a different way, for sure. So anyway, it has been a while since I read a retelling of mythology. Greek mythology to be specific, and I really enjoy those books. I really enjoyed Circe, I really liked Ariadne, I really liked The Song of Achilles, and I also really enjoy just books that tell the myths. So I really want to get back to that. And one of the books on my shelves that is Greek mythology and that I haven't read yet is Ithaca. And this is about Penelope, which is Odysseus' wife, and Odysseus, of course, has been gone for years and years and years on his war journey. So this is about his wife who stays back, and apparently these women that stay behind also change the course of the world. So I'm really curious to see what this is about. I really enjoy, like I said, mythology stories because I've said this before, but I really enjoy books where you get pulled into a different culture. And Greek mythology books also are a very different culture because the Greeks lived very differently than we do today. So I always really enjoy reading about that and learning about other cultures, even though this culture doesn't exist anymore. I just really enjoy those types of books, and the more magical, mystical element that is in these books make them even more amazing to me. So I'm really excited to get into this one. And this is about Penelope, the wife of Odysseus, who is ruling in Ithaca. And of course, not only Odysseus moved away to go to war, all of the husbands of all of the women in this city uh, went with him. So I'm really curious to see what that is like. What happens when all the men leave, basically. So excited about this one. So next up, I have a second in a series, which is Kingkiller trilogy. The Kingkiller Chronicles, and this is the Wisman Sphere, which is a sequel to The Name of the Wind, and I really enjoyed The Name of the Wind, so I'm really looking forward to reading the Wisman Sphere as well. This is a thick one. This is almost 1,000 pages. It's like 995 pages, and the font inside, it's really tiny. So this is going to take me weeks to finish because I'm a very slow reader. But this is about Quoth. And Quoth has led a very tumultuous life. He is very famous in his kingdom, in his lands. He has left his life behind. He is now an innkeeper, secretly. No one knows about that he is this innkeeper. But one day, a very famous storyteller tracks him down and asks him to tell him his entire life story. And so he does. And The Name of the Wind is the first part of that story. It's the first day that he tells this story, and then The Name of the Wind is the second day. So in the first book, he tells about his youth and what happened in his youth, and then his way to the University of Magic. And then in this book, it starts off at the university again. So I'm really excited to see where this is going to go, but I do dread the amount that I have to read. But I remember I really, really enjoyed the Kingkiller, the Name of the Wind. So I think this is going to be very enjoyable for me as well. And then I have an OG BookTube book on my list that has been on my shelves for years and years. This has been written in, let me see, 2020. So not as long ago as I thought. But this is The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett, and this is about two sisters who live very separate lives because they are what is called white passing, I believe. So that means that they are black, but they could pass as white women. And one of these sisters goes on to live a life in the black community, and the other woman, the other sister, goes and she lives her life as if she is white. So sounds very interesting. I'm not American, so it is hard for me to understand, really fully grasp the cultural implications that go along with being black in America. I'm clearly not black either, so of course I cannot speak on that. But I am very interested to see what it is like for these sisters, and yeah, very curious to get into this one. Next up, I have another book that has been on my bookshelves for a while that I really want to read because of its importance culturally, and give a different perspective of people's realities in the world that are so different from mine, and that is The Beekeeper of Aleppo. So this is about a married couple from Aleppo. One of them is an artist and the other is a beekeeper. And of course, so war breaks out in Syria and they need to flee, and they see a lot of traumatic stuff. They go through a lot of trauma and they have to go and flee. They go to England, but the journey there is of course very dangerous as well, and they probably face some traumatic stuff during the journey as well. And then it says they lost each other and they have to find each other again, and I don't know if they physically lost each other or mentally, but it sounds like a very inspiring book, and I'm really excited to get it. Not excited, I'm very curious to see what this book is about. It says, in the midst of war he found love, in the midst of darkness he found courage, in the midst of tragedy he found hope. So it sounds like a beautiful story that is also tragic, and that is something that I do really enjoy in books. So very curious to see what this is about. And lastly, I have a new book, which is a new Brandon Sanderson release, and that is Tress of the Emerald Sea. So this is a secret project from Brandon Sanderson. He wrote this for his wife, never for the public eye to see, but his wife urged him to show it to the world. And he says in the back of the book, he says that this happened in a very different way than other books because he had no time constraints, there were no expectations, and there were no limits on his imagination. So I'm very excited to get into that one. I really enjoyed the Mistborn trilogy from him. I haven't read it. Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful book. Look. I haven't read any other of his works, but I'm excited to read this one. The Stormlight Archives are definitely on my TBR as well, but I am on a book buying ban and I do not own them. So we're going to just read this one for now. It's very pretty, look. Isn't that so pretty? So this is about Tress, who lives in an emerald sea, and he spends his time collecting cups and listening to stories of that his friend Charlie tells him. So in that way it really sounds kind of like The Little Mermaid. But then I'm not really sure, I couldn't quite get it from the blurb, but someone leaves to find a bride. I think it's Charlie. And an accident occurs and Tress needs to go on a journey to find his friend, I guess. And so he goes to a poisonous sea and there's pirates and there's a sorceress that he needs to enlist help from, or she. Is Tress a woman? I think Tress is a woman. So anyway, this sounds like it is right up my alley because it is in the sea and the ocean, and I really love that. I think there should be more mermaidy tales and books because that's definitely right up my alley. But yeah, really excited to get into this one and see what this is about, because like Brandon Sanderson himself said, it is written in a different way. It wasn't supposed to go to the public, so I'm really curious to see what a writer can come up with just in his free time. So really excited for that one. But that is it for me for today, you guys. These are all the books that I'm going to be reading in February. Please comment down below any books of this stack that you have already read and what you thought of them. Please let me know if you're going to read any of these books now. So yeah, that's it for me for today. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more from me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!